Geeking out loud while you sneak around. See, I'm the one they speaking about. This key blast to throw you in the air and spin your feet around. We geeking out loud. I put the cartridge in the system and I'm hitting everybody in existence. Came to get it all. You see the writing on the wall. If I'm Naruto in the water, I'm Sasuke before the fall. Luffy after the hockey. I'm Zoro drinking the sake. Try to fight me, I get Brocky like we Spiros and Brawley. You gon' need the HMs, the TM. I said I'm trying to hit. She said ditto in the DMs. You reach in, I'm preaching. Attack of the Titans. I went colossal on the weekend. Colossus with the X-Men. I'm Wolverine, I'm a weapon. I'm hotter than everybody. I dedicated the body. You hardly outside. We geeking, you never started.
Hey, what's up, geeks and nerds? This is Dr. Geekly here.
And I'm Mixnia.
And we got two special guests with us today. And yeah, so I'm going to let them introduce themselves. And yeah.
Go for it, Brock.
Okay. Hi, my name is Brock Markham. I'm a stuntman and actor based here in LA. And I've had the privilege to be working with the Outlaw series, portraying the role of Jason Todd, a.k.a. Red Hood.
And my name is Ian S Talbot. I am a director who worked on The Outlaws with Brock Markham and other amazing people.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm very big Red Hood and the Outlaws fans ever since it came out. Ever since I watched the animated movie, Batman Under the Red Hood, it just...
Classic.
Jason's character spoke to me. The Batman style and classic animated series style, it always spoke to me. Jason was always kind of like a tragic character to me, so when I first seen this, I just knew that it would do it justice.
Cool. Well, we hope so.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a classic. Under the Red Hood's one of my favorites also, and it has such a special place in my heart also. So yeah, we wanted to do these characters justice as well.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, I love Under the Red Hood as well. I think it's such an impactful story for all Batman fans because I think it really brought up a really great question of efficacy of Batman's tactics, but also the morality of what he's doing versus not doing. And so I think Under the Red Hood is just a solid story. And I've said before, one of the first things that attracted me to Red Hood before really knowing much about him, the story, was actually his original look. His look was just so cool. I just loved it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I have to give Brock credit for the word efficacy just starting off. So I'm like, okay, well, just be smart over here. Just be like, yeah, good job.
Yeah. So let me ask y'all, what can y'all tell us a little bit about the Outlaws TV series that you're trying to work on?
It's been a lot of work. So
yeah.
For me, starting off, I'm really good friends with Robert Tabani, the writer of this. This is all kind of his fault that it started off. I would just moved into a new apartment and I got a phone call and he goes, "Hey, you got a minute?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And he starts talking to me about this idea for a script that he had. I mean, besides being a friend of mine, he is a brilliant writer and I just love the work that he does. And I had been following with him on a couple of other projects that he was working on, and he was talking about, I want to do something with Red Hood and the Outlaws. I said, "Oh, that's cool." And he says, "Do you want to direct it?" I'm like, "Okay." So we went from there. We were initially just thinking of doing this as like a small fan film kind of thing for YouTube. And it just kind of blew up out of control from there over the next few months. So that was the start of it, basically. Yeah. And then with him meeting Evan, the third person in Nine Thoughts production. So more opportunities on what this could be potentially. Like I said, it just started to grow in that way, and it turned into something that we're still hoping to be able to pitch, and that's where we are today.
Okay, so the project still going and everything?
Project is still going. We are, everything takes 10 years longer than you ever hope that it's going to, especially when you're dealing with film. I will say, as an actor myself, I've done some film, but I'm primarily a theater performer and director, producer, teacher, all that. And my theater career is older than Brock is, which is
Oh my.
yeah. I started very young, we'll say, but yeah. So working on the film side of things is a little different, but what is the same and what I love is working with creatives, working with actors, and working with great scripts and just being able to tell really good stories. It's just the different media that you work with to do all of those really great things.
Yeah. I also love how y'all made Starfire's fire green in this.
Yeah.
Because if y'all watch the live action Titan show, you notice it's just red. Or not even red.
Yeah. Like a orangey, type, pinkish type.
And it's like, that's not Starfire.
Yeah.
That's what's really great about this universe and these characters is that there's something for everybody, and the thing that is for someone may not be for you or your personal taste, and that's why there's so many great creatives making great things. That's a choice that they've made, and then there are choices that we've made.
Yeah. So what did this take place, like how far past Under the Red Hood, like series or movie or storyline?
A while. The characters where we're seeing them as a place where they've not been seen before. They're older. They're, I'll say, more adult. They've lived more life than we have seen them living in comics or other film or animation. So it's an interesting take on being able to look at like these young sidekicks as a way, but as adults. And they're bringing a lot of baggage with them, and I think that's what makes their story more interesting in that way. What do you think, Brock?
I mean, no, I agree. It's that question of when it takes place. You're right. We've never really seen that. It's because again, when we see from the comics, from the Outlaws series, yes, the three of them are grown up, but they're. I don't know. I'm trying not to again spoil too much. So Ian, if you need to,
it's hard, right?
I know. Yeah. Just go ahead and cut me off if we need to. But just as Ian said, we're at a point where, Ian, if I start saying something, just say shut up.
Oh, I'm really good at telling you what to do.
Right. Yeah. Basically, they've all put the vigilante lifestyle basically behind them. But we have circumstances arise. Yeah. We have these circumstances arise that kind of have to, we'll say, bring them out of retirement a little bit. So because they've put the vigilantes behind them, and each of them trying to move on in their own way, we get to see, like Ian said, the baggage that they've taken with them from the vigilante to how they've tried to move on and what that life looks like, to now kind of coming back together with all of that there, and kind of learning what it means to now basically be a team again, and how to move forward with that now.
Very well said.
So yeah, it's
nailed it.
Very interesting. Like that they're they're older, and that, like y'all said, they're not really heroes, but they got a lot of baggage with them, like PTSD kind of stuff, and just stuff like that.
That's actually one of the things that we look towards.
Yeah. So, Mix, you have any questions for
them? Let's see. Where should I go after that? I'm really loving the idea behind the show because, as you said, there isn't really anything with them being older. So I do like the that whole idea of them, I guess, probably trying to live regular lives, and then life happens.
Yes.
Yeah, and then yes. Okay.
And
Two out of, 2 out of the 3 of them are trying to live regular lives, and as Brock
Okay.
was saying, a circumstance comes up, a doings transpires that kind of pulls them out of retirement.
Are we allowed to learn more about at least one of their circumstances, or how much are you allowed to tell us?
Filing taxes as an adult without a dependent, that's a hard thing. An entire series arc is no, I'm lying to you. I mean, taxes are hard. Yes, that's true. To do with our show. I'm buffering right now. I'm trying to figure out what I can actually say here.
That's fair.
Let me ask you this, because I love flipping the tables. I'm assuming you've seen the trailer. That was
Yes.
released. Okay, what are you getting out of it as someone who's watching that? Like what did you see that hopefully excites you, or gets your fandom revving up, going, ooh, are we gonna see this, or what is this like?
Oh, okay. I can answer that one.
Cool.
So are we going to see any cameos from DC heroes that we know of?
Nope.
If I can interject with that, that's actually one of the cool things about this story is, and again, just to me thus far, this is going to be a story for the fans of the Outlaws.
Yeah.
And we hope, obviously, it's a story that everybody can enjoy, because as Ian said, that's what's really most important, is we want to put out a good story first and foremost. So whether or not you're a big fan of them, that's fine. But let's say you're not a fan. I'm hoping, and I truly think so, I've only been privy to reading the first 3 episodes, the scripts, the first 3 episodes, that if you don't know really anything about them, I think you can still come in and enjoy the type of story that's being set up. And because of that, we're not going to rely on cameos to try and get people to come and watch it.
Yeah.
I think that shows the faith in the story that we're telling, that we don't have to say, hey, if you stick around, maybe you'll be rewarded with seeing this hero, huh? And it's just like, to me, that's like a cheap way of saying, we don't really trust the story we're making on these characters and heroes here, so we're gonna try and bait you with something else. Whereas this is the story is the Outlaws. It's these 3 in their in this world, right? Of course, we can understand and know there are those other heroes out there, but it's not about them, and it's not trying to bait fans or others into sticking around for characters that might show up. This is, we have Jason, Rob, and Starfire, and this is their story here. So
that is perfectly said. I'm sorry, I'm going to jump on that. So seriously, Brock, just feel free to speak for me and my personal that was excellent. Part of that, with that blunt kind of there's not going to be like those cameos, because these characters, no matter what, they're always going to be living in the shadow of those characters that would be a cameo. So
very true.
They're not a part of that story, because they're absolutely a part of our main character's story, their life story, and their experiences, and why they are who they are today. So you can't get away from them in that fact. But no, we're not purposely setting up for them to be like Brock said, okay, have the patience with us, and then there's going to be a reward for you. I think the reward is the show itself. And on the flip of that,
I love that.
Thank you. And when we were casting this, and we were just workshopping the scripts as well, because you can, I'm sure you all know, you can toil away at something, but until you hear it, or a fresh set of ears, or someone else's experiencing it with you, you really don't know what you have. As a theater director, I'm always saying to my cast, it's like, look, you need an audience now, because we don't know what it is that we have anymore. Someone else needs to come see this. So I brought in some other actor friends of mine who were not, comic book fans. They don't necessarily know who these characters are. And we just sat down and we read the first 3 scripts. and they were like, what happens next? I love this. These characters are so great. And, they didn't necessarily
Ooh.
rush out and buy comic books. They fell in love with who these people are. So I really think, that, should we be blessed and fortunate enough to be able to produce this, there is something for everyone, and it doesn't have to be a fandom heavy, material for it to succeed.
So, what can you like? Another thing I got from this show is y'all got like we didn't get to see the villain, but we got to hear and see images, like little brief ones. What can you tell us about the villain they're fighting?
He's sick and twisted.
He's very sick and twisted. I think
aren't all the Batman villains sick and twisted in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah, and aren't they great?
Sure.
I mean,
But like, I'm
True.
not gonna. If I see Condiment King running down the street, I'm not gonna be like all that fearful.
yeah, but man,
Yeah.
he could really mess up your spaghetti, and that is a place where so
Yeah. I remember back
flashback.
flashback. I remember that a while back, my last time I podcast, I interviewed Ian, and he told me something about it being Shadow Thief, right?
I've never interviewed with you before, but so thank you for having me today.
Yes.
So yeah, Shadow Thief is a big bad that we have, and that's probably why you think you haven't seen him in the trailer.
Yeah.
Say you think you haven't.
Yeah. I like
Hmm.
in the trailer though. I like how I hear whispers in a way in the very end of the trailer. It's like very ominous.
That ominous is a great starting word. Yes.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like I just like everything about it, but I'm glad you told me how y'all got involved. Like you just got a phone call and you're like, I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Well, for one, like I said, I have history with Robert, but I trust him and I trust his writing. And when when you get to see what he's done, you can't help but just fall in love with it. And like I said, looking towards, what's next? What's coming up next? We have the entire first season written. We have the treatment for 3 seasons.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah. And honestly, we do have, concept, we know exactly where we want to go for 5 seasons. And really,
I love that.
Yeah, I do too, because where you're going.
Yes.
Is one of the things that they say as a director, for actors, don't work for the end result. You want it to be in the moment, you want it to be fresh, but as a showrunner, you have to know where you're going. And I can tell you, we absolutely know where this is going, should we be, blessed and fortunate enough to be able to produce it.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be something for diehard fans to really gravitate towards, but for for people to become new fans of them. And
if I could say something about that as well, like I said, I've read the first 3 episodes, and I know the general direction of some things in the future of that Ian and Robert work together. But I'll be honest, I don't even know where it's really ending up, right?
Yeah.
But which is fine. But I love the idea as well, just as Ian said, and this is something that I've really loved and respected about working with this team, is they say we have 3 seasons done. We have a treatment we can do for 5, but saying like we know where it's going. That's the story that we want to tell. And it's refreshing to know that, because you see so many, whether it's films, series, whatever, that might start out great, but they don't know where they're going. And it's apparent, because it might be successful, might be good for the first couple seasons, but all of a sudden you're watching and you're thinking, okay, now it just feels like you're trying to ride off popularity and just milk it, rather than saying, here's the story we want to tell, here's the beginning, and here is our end. And I think it takes what's the word? Not courage. It takes resolve. We'll say that. It takes resolve to say, this is the story I want to tell. We're going to tell it in 3 or 5 seasons. and that be it. We can move on to other things, because I think that is something to really keep, again, fans, anybody who watches it, interested. And knowing, and it's as difficult as it might be to say, you want to end your story on that high. You want really to end it basically with people wanting more, but also respecting the end of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally valid.
Perfect. Yeah. As a fan of other things, and I'm not going to name names here, there are things that, like Brock was saying, you can tell that maybe they had an idea, but, producers got in the way, other, pressure from a fan base, or just, it's like, okay, we did this, now what happens? And they're trying to make it up as they go. And as opposed to having, this is where we're going with this. One of the reasons we didn't say too much to our actors, I'm sorry, Brock, but it's like, because you want it to be fresh for them as well. Tell me where you're going to be in 5 years, and this isn't a job interview, but no one can answer that for you. And I think when you're trying to keep something fresh as well, and hopefully we will be spending a lot of time together, making some really great shows, but it's good to have that surprise, because that's what life is.
Yeah. What would you say the show would be rated, out of curiosity?
R.
Oh, you said R.
It's R, yeah. As Robert is really proud to say, it's a hard R, because boy, does that man love some language. I think what's interesting, Robert tends to think that I'm very mild-mannered sometimes, and fairly quiet and all that. And he goes, "Oh, you're going to hate this," or whatever. And I'll read it and I go, "It's not dark enough." And I'll go, "What? I thought it was really dark." No, it's not dark enough. It's not creepy enough yet. I said, "Dude, remember, I'm an old goth, please." But
Ooh.
like, I'm not an, ooh, yes. So we'll listen to some Bauhaus later and have a good time. Or a resplendent time, whatever. Sorry, I got to with Bauhaus. There we go. Okay, but I would say, I don't think it's dark enough, or we need to push this moment. I mean, you're dealing with a baddie called Shadow Thief, and who isn't necessarily as known as say Joker or Poison Ivy, but when you can bring some respect into some work or characters that you may not know, and I think what makes him work so much is that you don't know him so well, and when you can kind of start revealing that and working within the powers and just the character setup, the way that it's been presented, but then delve a little deeper, you can make some real creepy stuff. It's hard. I'm biting my own tongue because I want to go, oh, and then this, and then it looks like, but yeah, he creepy.
He big creepy.
Yeah, he creepy. Yeah. And he was a lot of fun to work with. I'm not a horror fan, but I appreciate making it. I like, pushing performances and aspects towards, being a little more unsettled, because it's giving you your own experience, as opposed to saying, okay, here's my spoon, here comes the airplane. Because, I have more respect for an audience than that. And so if you can have your own reaction to any character, but especially a villain, and letting that horror be something personal to you, I think it buys more into, what our individual characters are going through.
Yeah.
I think everyone has some sort of baggage just in life, and especially, 3 retired or 2.5 retired, crime fighters, they've probably seen some stuff. And when you can frighten them into action, I think you're doing something pretty good with your writing.
Yeah. So this is a less hard question, non-spoilery. What was the most difficult thing about this project?
There was a scene that I had to do, and I was completely blind. I couldn't see and I had to walk to my mark, but I nailed it.
Oh wow.
You really did. Yeah.
I love that.
I'm sitting halfway between the doorway and Video Village because I have to keep an eye on, what's live, but also, how it is in frame. But I'm like, man, that sucker just nailed that. Okay, cool. I'm going to give him other stuff to do. Yeah. For me and on the production team, I would love to say that was our hardest part.
I know, that's why I said that first. I know that's not it for you.
Hey, Brock, that's great for you. Huh?
I know.
Trying to, well, not only trying, I'm not one to light my own candle too much because we all wind up with our armpits full of wax when we do that. But the hardest part was successfully making something during the pandemic.
Oh.
And yeah, I felt your sigh of relief with that, Brock.
That is valid.
Hard. When I work with people, especially in theater, it is so immediate. It is so right there, one-on-one kind of a thing. And the fact that, I'm working with these people via Zoom, or I'm bringing them into a studio space that, we were so blessed to be able to use, and not being able to fully interact. We were so COVID strict and safe on the set, and there was no cutting corners. There was testing. There was all of that, and
that's great.
It was. And I'll be honest. I mean, did I love that? No. Who loved the pandemic? Okay.
No.
Let's just be honest about it. Who said, you know what I miss? And that was hard.
Yeah.
And then you've got your post-production, and that is hard. And anyone who's ever done this and attempted to do it with a high level of professionalism that you look for in the entertainment that you seek yourself. It comes down to, when you know better, you do better. And
of course,
as you're continually learning while you're making the thing, new challenges are coming up all of the time. And yeah, it was and continues to be, like the hardest part, but so rewarding too, because there are times you just go, oh man, this is hard, but look what I get to do. I get to have, a broken heart or big feelings about something this great. A lot of people, they don't get that opportunity, and their biggest broken heart is that their team didn't make the playoffs, and that's the only sport reference I'm going to make. But you realize just how fortunate and blessed you are to be able to work on something that you love with people that you are just absolutely madly in love with. There's really no bad days.
Yeah, it's like you're at home, but you're at work. Like, that's how fun it is.
Yeah. But on the shoot itself, I was getting maybe a half hour of sleep over 2 weeks.
Ooh.
And you're walking into it and you're going, am I even doing good work anymore? Because it's like, I think I'm eating a sandwich and my big toe has no feeling anymore. But good on you, Brock, for walking in a helmet. But no, and I have to say, Brock, phenomenal job. Couldn't be more proud. And just being able to see that evolution in such a short period of time was so great. And I say that for the entire cast as well. You made my job really, really easy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would also be remiss if I didn't say, Evan, who did such a phenomenal job as well. We decided pretty close to shooting that we would co-direct because he has the, expertise working with all of the technical things that I've never worked with before. So it was a really good use of our time and being able to split up our focus. whereas traditionally just maybe one person, and so we were able to work a lot quicker that way. So something that would have been really difficult, and I didn't want to frustrate people just because of my lack of knowledge. I was really, really thankful for Evan, and continue to be. Evan's a workhorse. You don't hear much about or from Evan, but honestly, none of this exists without him.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be more proud of him and the work that he's done.
Yeah.
I did a lot of talking.
A lot to say.
Yeah, I got a lot to say. So I got a certain question for Brock.
Yep.
What was it like playing, or what is it like playing the Red Hood?
I mean, it's a blast. It's a lot of fun to bring a character that I really enjoy and followed a lot to life. And being able to, I'm just with how can I say this, with all the respect that Evan said for the interpretations and the ability for anybody to create their own version, tell their own stories with these characters and within the mediums. I'm happy to say so again that like I think I'm able to bring a physicality to this character that just really hasn't been seen as far as live action goes. It's great to see him in the comics, and of course again under the Red Hood. But it's great to bring onto the live screen, this physicality of a very physical character, and again tell the story and put myself in a position of, like I said, I've always grown up being like a fan of Batman or everything like that. But as I said at the beginning, now being able to be a character who has a very different mindset and idea of what is or isn't effective, or what is or isn't morally right or wrong than Batman, because Batman is such a household name, such a popular, well-known, and beloved character. And
He's all right.
I also love him as well, but it's great to have, again, just to bring to life a very different viewpoint from what Batman believes is justice.
Yeah.
And may I say, you've done so beautifully.
No, thank you so much.
I don't throw out compliments lightly in that regard. We knew we had our Jason and our Red Hood when we met Brock on Zoom, but then to be able to see it live and go, yeah, okay, we done good. So I was really happy about that.
But so it was a lot of fun for both of y'all. There were some difficulties, challenges, but overall, y'all, as long as y'all think y'all did good, that's really all that matters. I mean, y'all are really confident about the storyline and where it's going. So,
Absolutely.
Very, very. And I'm proud of the work that we've all done. And looking back on things, it's going, okay, I know how to do better on this the next time. So the hope is that it just snowballs into, as excellence as you can make it.
yeah.
I love that.
So what was your creative approach, Ian, with the directing and everything on this?
Don't screw up.
Don't screw up.
Gosh. Oh, look, he's speechless. That's great for radio. I've done for radio what acapella done for the Philharmonic. It's great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Thank you for getting that. Yeah.
That's a good reference. I got it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm here all day. Actually, I'm not. But for me personally, whenever I get a script, one, your job as a director is to honor the intentions of the writer. That's number one. And while I think it's, I'm very glad that I know these characters. I love them. I'll be honest, they're not my favorite go-to characters in DC. I'm sorry, Brock, but I do love them and, wound up falling in love with them more and more. But I have to deal with the script. I can't deal with my fandom. I can deal with my respect for them and a respect for an audience as well. But ultimately, you have to deal with the script. And like I said, Robert did a phenomenal job writing, brought me in. So besides, directing, I did work on script editing as well, just a little. And when I say that, it's not like I pulled out my red pen and went to work for 4 weeks in the mountains. It's like 10-minute conversation here on this page, 5 minutes on this section kind of a thing, just to, tighten it up a little bit better, or, a fresh pair of eyes. So I think creatively, it's not that I set out in a way, or that to go, this is the approach, because the approach was already there in the text. It's just, 90% of a director's job is problem solving. And, how do you solve a problem like, Brock Markham? It's like working, with everybody coming in from their different perspectives and going, that's great, honor that, but this is the story that we're telling. And a lot of times, when I'm working on another show, I'll ask my actors, okay, what is this show about? What are these small group of adjectives that we've put together? So whenever you get lost on something, or we're trailing in a different direction, come back to what this thing is about, and that's always going to be the best place for you to answer any questions that come up.
Yeah.
And scene. So yeah.
But yeah, I that is very expressive. I can see that caught your tongue for a minute. But Brock, what for you? What do you enjoy most about acting? Out of curiosity.
Oh man, oh goodness, I don't want to pull an Ian and go completely silent here. It's the ability. I think it's the ability to tell stories. To entertain. Like a little bit like Ian, I've done a lot of live stuff, and it's obviously a very different medium, doing a live show in front of a live audience and hearing their reactions to things, everything like that, versus, of course, being on film. But you still want to. It's like it is during in the moment, in the scene or whatever that I'm acting. My thought isn't how is the audience reacting in this moment. And my thought, of course, is how am I reacting in this moment? I'm acting, and I want to make sure that it's real, But I really do enjoy the storytelling that we get to do. It's such a cliche to say, but stories really do have such a great impact and purpose in our lives. And so being able to tell a good story is, I think, what is first and foremost important within, acting, everything else. That's what I love about the scripts that I've read so far. You're looking at 3 very imperfect individuals who are trying to do good. And I think that that's a great story to tell. And it could be told in so many different ways. You can find so many different, of course, great beloved stories that do that, whether it's, the original Star Wars there, imperfect people who are trying to do good. Lord of the Rings, right? You see very fallible people, or, whether it's Frodo succumbing to the power at some point.
Hey, Frodo.
Boromir, his moment of weakness, and all these things where there's times they fail, but it's the idea where they can keep going and keep trying to do good. And I think that is really kind of like a timeless way to tell stories. And I think we've really nailed that with this one. And so that's something that I've really enjoyed being a part of.
Yeah.
I want to answer that question also. You didn't ask me. But as a director, yes, but as an actor, primarily one of my favorite things is giving a voice to someone who doesn't have one yet. And you know, when you're blessed and you just get this amazing character that comes your way, and it's like, oh man, I want to invest me into you right now so that others can get to know you. And I think especially with, you know, this show and all the different types of characters and, you know, their different backgrounds, and to the larger story that we want to tell here and bring light to some real life, you know, things that, you know, more people need to know about, is being able to give them a voice. And that's a really special place, and a place that where we need to bring a lot of respect into what we're doing as well. And so yeah, I like to
my next question was gonna be to ask you about what was yours like for filmmaking. Like, what do you enjoy most about that?
For me, I'll be honest, and I'm sorry, I don't love filmmaking. I don't.
Ooh.
I love enjoying film. I love it as a viewer, but if you give me the choice between making a film or working in theater, I know exactly where I'm going to choose 98% of the time.
That's fair.
And it's not that, you know, oh, film, boo, whatever. It's no, I love it in that regard. I love that I get to do it, but it's not my first love in that way. My first love, like I said, is being able to tell great stories and give a voice to characters. That's why I love working with actors, to be able to accomplish those goals. Theater is a lot of work, but you know, I've produced 4 shows in the time it took to do like 1 episode of something that, you know, that I filmed
wow.
in the past. I'm sorry, buffering.
You're fine.
There is definitely an excitement about it. You know, I love seeing, you know, people working towards, you know, all the different technical aspects and, you know, the way that that's done. Yeah. It just really made me love theater all over again. But yeah, but you know, that can change though. I'm open to letting that change.
Slightly unrelated question.
Yeah.
Are you into, when it comes to theater, are you into musicals as well, or just straight theater?
Both. I actually started off as a singer, classically trained opera singer.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I love it, and I'm actually won international competitions for singing and theater arts, and that.
Oh
so
my
I've
gosh.
definitely started out as an actor first, specifically in musical theater.
How did you go about doing that?
It's never not been in my life.
Okay.
My mom was very musical. Everyone in my family was musical in that regard.
I love that.
And so apparently, when I was 4 and in kindergarten, the teacher heard me singing in the bathroom. And was like, "Oh, this kid can sing," and they were doing, you know, like a little children's musical thing. And honestly, it started there. I've been working professionally in theater since I was 9, but really decided to make it this is what I want to do with my life when I was 12. So it's just, you know, from your experiences and, you know, the more acting you do, the more people you know, the more opportunities open up for you, hopefully. And so that's how that started. I was working at Actor Studio West when I was 19, doing more education, and got offered the chance to be a student director. And I had never really thought about it before, but it's like someone turned on a light, because the way I have always read a script is I can read it the first time through and it is completely in my head. I know where the actors are. I know what's happening there. I can tell you about the design. And, you know, everybody looks at, you know, scripts and books and novels, differently, and they see
Yeah.
it, but it's like there's just something I know how to put it there, and there's probably a better way to say that, but
like you visualize everything.
I do. It's very visual.
Okay.
And hopefully it's a visual language, but also an emotional language.
Yeah.
And that's something I try and bring across to, the actors and the crew that I'm working with.
I love that.
And so, yeah, I'm working on a new show right now.
Ooh.
Yeah,
What's it about? Or are you allowed to tell us?
Not allowed to say just yet. But I am working on a it's a classic piece of old fiction.
Okay.
So, yeah, and allegorical fiction, that kind of a thing. So,
green eggs and ham.
It really is. It's very true. Sorry, Brock just spoiled it for you. You had an reaction to green eggs and ham. That's really the relationship of the ham to the egg that I'm trying to. No.
You said it was allegorical piece of historic fiction there. Important piece, right?
Very important.
Just a little porn.
I love you, you big dummy.
No, that's Bizarro.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
So let me ask y'all both, I'm assuming, are both DC fans. What's your favorite DC superheroes? Out of curiosity.
I mean, Red Hood's definitely up there for me.
Mm-hmm.
I have always been a fan of like the Batman stories and a lot of his stuff, but I think number one is probably Red Hood.
Yeah. I love Batman. Love Green Arrow. I'd have to say Dick Grayson, Robin, and Nightwing. Yeah, but Batman has the best villains.
It's true.
Yeah,
absolutely has the best villains.
The hero's only as good as their villain.
Yeah,
true.
There's just something, and it's almost an intangible. The relationship between Batman, the Bat Family, and their rogues gallery. I think what makes them so rich too is the majority of them are human.
Yeah.
Whereas like Superman, that's great, no disparaging that, but you can only have so many overpowered aliens that are not relatable. I think what makes Batman's characters, rogues gallery, Bat Family, and all that is because they are so human. And they're always wrestling with the power that they have and what they do with it.
Yeah, it's. I get that. I was thinking before we did this interview, who I would want in an Outlaw team. I'm just gonna run it by y'all.
Okay.
One, Harley Quinn.
Okay.
What do you? Okay. Two, Tara from Teen Titans. And three, one of the speedsters from the Flash family, Godspeed.
Okay.
So I know how y'all felt about that. I just wanted to run that by y'all, but yeah.
Well, I can tell you the scripts are written.
I understand.
So sorry, but yeah.
Yeah.
As we say at my job, well, maybe in your play.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
see,
no.
I like what you said, because these are characters that mean something to you. And that's what's really great about them, is that there's so much variety.
Yeah. Like, I mean, when you read like comics for Red Hood and Outlaws, it's like you can feel the pain in the pages, and it's like like every one of them is trauma based. Like Starfire, when she gets out, her backstory is, if it ain't like in the Teen Titans show, it's really sad, like, and dark. But no, like Roy, he's dealing with alcoholism and everything in the comics, and Red Hood,
drug addiction,
Red Hood. It's all started with him. Really, it's like because he's trying to live up to, it was at one point trying to live up with Batman lifestyle, but no, he couldn't. He was always in a dark place.
And he was blown up.
And he was blown up. Yeah.
Man was dead for a while.
Yeah.
But
Valid.
Kind of change after death.
but you're right in the it basically the difficulties that each of them go through, right? And with Red Hood, with Jason, you know, his whole story is he never had a real father in his life until you know his teenage years or whatever, and then the father figure he does have is Batman. And you're like, talk about a complete 180, just a completely different world from somebody not showing you what it really means to be a responsible man and growing up like that, to all of the sudden you're adopted by the guy who's like probably has got the highest expectations you know in the world. And you're right, it's this idea that not only is he trying to live up to Bruce's expectations under the shadow there, he also had Dick Grayson who came before him, who was like the golden child, right? So it's like this idea of him trying to hit those expectations, but always comparing himself to others, just how difficult that really is to be.
No pressure.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I know. I'm so grateful for y'all to give us this chance to have an interview with y'all.
Oh, thank you. This was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun.
Yeah. And is there anything you want to say before we head off about the Outlaw series that you want the fans to know about?
It's good. You can support it, please.
Yeah. Well, we will talk again later, and y'all have a wonderful day.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Take care.
See ya.
Have a good day.
I'm assuming that's it. Okay, good deal.
Bye.
Guys, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.